Hi, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome newcomers if this is your first time here. Today, we're going over the next part of What If Naruto Was OP. If you like the video, hit the subscribe and like button. Let's begin. Chapter 2. Chunin Exams. Naruto was up before dawn, jogging around the quiet village as he often did. After 30 minutes, he made a quick stop at the store to pick up some milk, then headed home to enjoy a simple breakfast of cereal. As he ate, he mulled over thoughts of the upcoming Chunin exams, an event for Hokage candidates that would begin in just a week. Once Naruto had finished breakfast and training, he got dressed. He donned his signature look, inspired by the sleek black outfits of his favorite action heroes. Beneath his long black coat, he wore his usual black shirt and pants, completing the look with his headband, now dyed black. As he prepared to head out, he reminded himself to check on Haku after his sensei's training to see how she was doing. On his way to the Ninja Academy, where Kakashi had told him to meet for the Chunin exams, Naruto sensed something odd. A small brown box with holes was creeping behind him, clumsily attempting to stay hidden. Smirking, he yanked the box away, revealing 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. The first boy, wearing a yellow shirt and blue scarf, introduced himself as Konohamaru, the most brilliant ninja. His friends, Moegi and Udon, stood beside him, explaining that they were practicing stealth and looking for a rival, someone they could train to surpass. They'd decided Naruto would make the perfect rival. Amused, Naruto wished them luck, but when Konohamaru and his friends insisted on proving themselves, Naruto got annoyed and moved to send them on their way. However, Konohamaru showed surprising speed, dodging Naruto's swipe and even managing to snag a shuriken from his pocket. Naruto was caught off guard and felt a flash of anger, but Konohamaru and his friends quickly fled, leading Naruto on a brief chase through the streets. The pursuit ended abruptly when Konohamaru collided with a tall, unfamiliar figure, a young woman with face paint, dressed in a black outfit with red and yellow accents. She wore a hood with cat-like ears, her Sand Village headband embedded in it. She glared down at Konohamaru, taunting him. When Konohamaru talked back, she picked him up, threatening him. Naruto stepped forward, ordering her to release him, but she only laughed, sizing Naruto up and mocking his outfit and confidence. She hadn't expected the sudden jolt of pain that followed. Naruto had used his time-skip ability to stealthily strike her. Her sister, Temari, a blonde with a white dress, ran over, shocked by Naruto's attack. She accused him of hurting her sister, but Naruto barely reacted, other than to blush a little at the stranger's bold remark about his appearance. "If you ever mess with me or anyone else again, you won't see the light of day," he warned. At that moment, Naruto sensed another presence close by. Sasuke, his old friend and rival, was watching from a tree. She leapt down, issuing her own warning to the sand ninjas. Then, yet another figure appeared, this one with red hair, blue eyes, and a menacing aura. She wore a unique full-body outfit and had a gourd strapped to her back. "Enough, Kankura," she ordered her sister coldly. "We're not here to cause trouble." Kankura reluctantly released Konohamaru and fell back, while the red-haired girl looked over both Naruto and Sasuke with measured interest. She introduced herself as Gaara, noting that Naruto's speed had caught her attention. With a final warning to Kankura and Temari, Gaara turned to leave, but Sasuke demanded her name. Gaara introduced herself fully, stating her curiosity about Naruto's abilities and giving a final glance before they vanished. Naruto, impressed but wary of Gaara, continued on to the academy. He knew there were 3 other ninjas observing the encounter but ignored them, assuming they were sizing up the competition. Meanwhile, at the Hokage's office, the 3rd Hokage was meeting with squad leaders. He asked if their genin were ready for the exams. Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurenai all gave their approval, though Iruka voiced some concern over their lack of experience. After receiving his Chunin exam sign-up sheet, Naruto decided to visit Haku at the mental hospital. He walked in, noticing the children playing with their parents, a sight that stirred his own memories. At the front desk, he asked about seeing Haku but was told she needed more time to adjust. Understanding, Naruto left, planning to return in a month. 5 days later, Naruto was headed to the academy with his teammates Ino and Shikamaru to officially turn in their Chunin exam forms. Upon arrival, they found a large group of students gathered outside a room labeled 301. 2 intimidating Chunin guards blocked the door, having just beaten up a boy with a bowl haircut and a girl with brown hair. They warned that the exam would be even tougher than this. Naruto, annoyed by their arrogance, demanded they step aside. But Sasuke calmly pointed out that they were actually on the wrong floor. The number 301 flickered, transforming into 201, and Naruto realized the guards were using a genjutsu. Furious, Naruto demanded they move, but when one guard lunged at him, Naruto prepared to strike back. Just then, the injured boy from earlier stepped in, effortlessly halting both Naruto and the guard's punches. Surprised, Naruto felt a flash of respect. The kid was faster than he'd expected. The boy, Rock Lee, turned his attention to Sakura, Sasuke's teammate, boldly asking her to be his girlfriend and promising to protect her. Sakura refused, unimpressed. Rock Lee's teammate, Neji Hyuga, stepped up to introduce himself to Naruto and Sasuke, making it clear he was assessing the competition. Naruto and his team finally moved toward the first exam area, a sense of anticipation buzzing through the halls of the academy as they prepared to face the challenges of the Chunin exams. Chunin exams. Naruto vs. Rock Lee spar. On his way to the exam hall, Naruto heard a voice call out behind him. "Stop right there, you with the trench coat." Naruto turned to see Rock Lee, the student he'd encountered earlier. Lee eyed him intently. "Are you Naruto Uzumaki, of the Uzumaki clan?" Naruto nodded. "I've heard your clan is famous, though no one seems to know why," Lee said, his eyes narrowing with determination. "But they say the Uzumaki are fast and deadly, with precision attacks. I want to see that for myself. Shall we spar?" Naruto placed his hands in his coat pockets, unfazed. "Go ahead," he replied, signaling Lee to start. Without hesitation, Lee charged, fists flying with intense speed. Naruto quickly calculated his move. His time skip ability let him freeze time for 0.2 seconds, but he opted for only 0.1 to conserve chakra. Just as Lee's punch neared his chest, Naruto activated his time skip, everything around him halting in an instant. Calmly, he sidestepped Lee's attack, and as time resumed, Lee's punch hit nothing but air. A look of confusion crossed Lee's face as Naruto dodged effortlessly. Before he could react, Naruto spun and delivered a swift kick to Lee's side, sending him stumbling back. Lee regained his footing, the shock fading into a determined smile. "You're faster than I thought. But this isn't over." He resumed his attack, moving from multiple angles with fists and feet flashing. Naruto remained calm, using short bursts of timeskip to evade Lee's strikes, appearing to glide just out of reach each time. This guy's no joke, Naruto thought, impressed by Lee's persistence. But he knew he had to end it. Activating timeskip again, Naruto didn't just dodge this time, he attacked. In the frozen moment, he delivered a series of precise punches and kicks to Lee, each blow landing before Lee could even register it. As time resumed, Lee was knocked back, hitting the ground hard. Though winded and in visible pain, he pushed himself up, refusing to stay down. Naruto watched with respect. Impressive, Naruto said coolly. But this fight's over. Lee's eyes narrowed with renewed determination. I won't go down so easily. I don't know what's so special about your clan, but I'll uncover your hidden skill, he vowed, his gaze fierce. Just as Lee reached for his pant leg sleeves, a voice called out, echoing across the grounds. That's enough, Lee. Kakashi stepped forward, having watched the match from a distance. You've both proven your strength. Save the rest for the exams. Breathing heavily, Lee paused, then nodded, reluctantly backing down. Naruto relaxed his stance, slipping his hands back into his pockets. See you in the exams, he said with a smirk as he turned to leave. As Naruto walked away, Lee clenched his fists. Just know there's someone even stronger than me, he murmured. I'll defeat him. And one day, I'll defeat you too, Naruto Uzumaki. Kakashi approached Naruto with a faint smile. Interested in learning a new technique. Naruto raised a brow. What kind of technique? It's called the Chidori, Kakashi replied. You might still be a bit inexperienced with chakra control, but your skill and teamwork are promising. I'll test you on it after your first exam, if you make it through. Naruto was intrigued, though he'd never heard of Chidori. Still, he accepted the offer with a nod, eager to see what else he could learn. Chunin exams. Written exams. Kakashi directed Naruto to head to room 301, where the first part of the Chunin exams would take place. As Naruto approached the crowded room, he noticed his teammates, Sakura and Sasuke, and a multitude of other students gathered inside. It was immediately clear that they weren't all from the Hidden Leaf, as he saw Gaara's squad and students with various headbands representing different clans. Naruto joined his friends, noticing they were with a white-haired kid in glasses who was examining cards with intense focus. Curious, Naruto asked what was going on, and Shikamaru explained that this kid had gathered information on the other clans competing in this year's Chunin exams. Naruto's interest was piqued, so he asked for details on Gaara of the Desert. The kid channeled his chakra into a card, which revealed Gaara's stats to Naruto. He saw that Gaara had completed numerous C and D rank missions and even a B rank mission, an impressive record for a genin. Suddenly, a familiar argument erupted nearby. Ino and Sakura were bickering over Sasuke, which grated on Naruto's nerves. Shut up, Naruto snapped. You're both embarrassing yourselves over someone who doesn't even like you. His blunt words escalated the situation, and Sakura, furious, swung a punch at him. With a swift kick to her chin, Naruto intercepted the attack, sending her sprawling into the crowd. He hadn't even used his time-skip ability. This was simply the result of his training. The students around them reacted, some criticizing Naruto. What's your problem? That was overboard. You shouldn't be a ninja if that's how you treat people. Naruto slammed his hand against the wall, the sound and impact silencing the room. Listen up, he growled. Being a ninja isn't about fairness or kindness. If you're here to make friends, you're in the wrong place. This job is about surviving and completing the mission. One mistake can cost your life. Tension rose in the room as several students glared at Naruto, ready to challenge him. Just then, a cloud of smoke filled the front of the room. As it dissipated, a group of stern-looking shinobi stood there, led by a man with a commanding presence. "Attention," the man announced, his voice cutting through the chatter. "My name is Ibiki Morino, and I'll be your proctor for today's exam." He noticed the commotion. "Hey, quit it," he barked, his glare sweeping across the students. "Do you all want to be expelled before we even start?" The room fell silent, though some students muttered under their breath, casting side glances at Naruto. "See you in the exams, chump," one sneered. "You're going down," another whispered. But Naruto didn't flinch. He was used to hostility. He met their glares with quiet resolve, more than ready for whatever lay ahead. "Everyone, take your seats," Ibiki ordered. "There will be no fighting during the exams unless given permission. And even then, keep it controlled, no fatal blows. Cross the line, and you're out. Now, let's go over the rules." The room fell still as Ibiki began, his authoritative presence grounding everyone's focus. Naruto leaned back in his seat, assessing the room with a keen eye. The exam had just begun, and he was ready for whatever challenges awaited. Ibiki stood at the front of the room, his face a stony mask. "The rules are simple," he began, his voice carrying a weight that made everyone listen carefully. "You each start with 10 points. There are 10 questions on this written test, but for every question you answer wrong, you lose a point. Cheating is worth 2 points. If you're caught cheating 5 times, you and your team are disqualified." Naruto's eyes narrowed slightly. There was something deeper at play here. His instincts, sharpened from his training, told him that this wasn't just a written exam. This was a test of intelligence, awareness, and how far each genin was willing to go to accomplish their mission. He glanced sideways, catching Shikamaru's gaze. Shikamaru gave him the slightest nod, already realizing the same thing Naruto had. Ino, sitting a few seats away, didn't meet his eyes, but Naruto knew she was also prepared. They were all counting on one another. As the papers were passed around, Naruto picked his up, staring down at the complex questions that littered the page. His brow furrowed slightly, but his expression remained otherwise unreadable. He wasn't the best at written tests, but his sharp mind and instincts told him the questions weren't the real challenge here. Naruto answered a few of the questions on his own, quietly marking his paper. 6 correct. He was confident in those answers. His patience was impressive, his sharp eyes not rushing over anything. But as he neared the 7th question, he realized that he'd need a little extra help. He gave a slight exhale, one so quiet it didn't disturb the air. The room was full of anxious genin, but Naruto. He was calm, cold, focused. "Time to make my move," he thought. Activating his time skip ability, Naruto's body remained seated, his fingers still on his pencil, but his consciousness slipped into the icy realm he controlled. The world around him slowed to an almost imperceptible crawl. For the others in the room, it was as if nothing had happened, but for Naruto, he moved unseen, slipping in and out of reality. His icy glare technique worked flawlessly in tandem with time skip. He projected a frozen image of himself in his seat, making it appear as though he were still deep in thought over the test. In reality, Naruto had already slipped out of the normal dimension, scouting the room for information. His movements were fluid, cold, calculated. He noted the strongest genin in the room, their weaknesses, and, most importantly, their answers. Within the frozen pocket of time he controlled, Naruto skimmed over a few papers, careful not to disturb anything. He didn't need all the answers, just enough to complete the mission successfully. As he moved, his mind briefly flickered to Shikamaru and Ino. He trusted them to hold their own. They had trained together, becoming a well-oiled team, each member compensating for the other's weaknesses. With his real self hidden within his own dimension, Naruto moved freely, unseen by the proctors and examiners. From this vantage point, he could see the subtle ways other participants were cheating. Hinata using her Byakugan, Kiba relying on Akamaru, and even Shikamaru discreetly creating a shadow to observe other students' answers. Shikamaru's intelligence was unparalleled, and he'd no doubt already figured out the optimal way to get the answers without being detected. Ino had her own methods, using her jutsu to connect with other genin and retrieve answers telepathically. They were relying on him to play his part, just as he was relying on them to cover any angles he missed. Back in his seat, time resumed, and Naruto's icy projection faded seamlessly into his real body. He quickly scribbled down the additional answers, making it look natural, as if he had just figured them out. 6 correct answers on his own, 4 from his technique. The perfect balance between strength and strategy. He glanced up at the clock, noting how much time was left. Ibiki's eyes were constantly scanning the room, catching the more blatant cheaters in the act. Naruto respected the man's ability, but he knew he was well beneath Ibiki's radar. As the minutes ticked away, the tension in the room grew palpable. Genin were disqualified left and right, their careless attempts to cheat backfiring under Ibiki's unrelenting gaze. But Naruto remained unfazed, his demeanor cool, his confidence unshaken. Finally, Ibiki spoke again. Time's up. Pencils down. The papers were collected, and the room was filled with nervous murmurs. Naruto leaned back slightly in his chair, his gaze calm but sharp as he observed the reactions around him. Some were visibly shaken, others merely relieved to be done with the written part of the exam. Now, Ibiki said, for the final question. The room stiffened. Naruto's eyes narrowed slightly. Here it is, he thought, feeling the weight of the room shift. Ibiki's eyes roamed the room. This last question is optional. However, if you choose to answer it and get it wrong, not only will you fail, but your entire team will fail as well, and your team will never be allowed to take the exam ever again. If you choose not to answer, you can walk away now, and you'll be able to take the exam again next year. Naruto heard some of the genin gasp or murmur in disbelief. The tension mounted as the reality of the choice set in. The final question was a gamble, a true test of their determination. But for Naruto, the answer was obvious. He had no intention of walking away. Anyone who doesn't want to risk it can raise their hand now, Ibiki continued. But if you stay, and you fail, it's over for you. Naruto's eyes remained steady. He wasn't going to leave. Not now. Not ever. Shikamaru didn't move either, and neither did Ino. They were all in this together. Ibiki's gaze swept the room, and after several agonizing seconds, hands began to rise. Genin, one by one, forfeited, choosing not to risk their futures. Naruto watched them leave, his expression unreadable, but internally, he was already thinking ahead, planning his next move. When the room finally settled, Ibiki smiled. Congratulations, he said, his voice a low rumble. To those of you still sitting here, you've passed the first part of the Chunin exams. Naruto's gaze didn't waver, but inside, he felt a cold sense of satisfaction. He hadn't doubted himself or his team for a second. They had counted on him, and he had delivered. The end of the written exams. Suddenly, something came crashing through the window, a large black ball, or so it seemed at first. It was actually a giant banner, which quickly unfurled and was nailed to the center of the room. The person responsible was a woman who looked older than most of the students. Naruto instantly recognized that she must be part of the next exam phase. "Hello, new recruits. My name is Anko," she introduced herself, pausing as she scanned the room. She turned to Ibiki, asking why there were so many students and accusing him of going soft. He replied that this class had more people determined to go all the way. Anko smirked and vowed that by the time she was done, the class size would be cut in half, or more. Her words made many students nervous, though Naruto stayed calm despite feeling a bit uneasy himself. "Things will change drastically first thing tomorrow," Anko announced. "For now, go home. I'll send your squad captains the location and time for the next exam. You're dismissed." Afterward, Naruto made his way to Ichiraku Ramen to wait for Kakashi, who had agreed to meet him for training. Naruto was eager to learn the Chidori technique from him. Finishing his second bowl of ramen, he bowed respectfully to the owner. "Thank you for the meal, sir." As he turned around, he heard footsteps approaching. He sharpened his senses, feeling a familiar, powerful chakra nearby. When the source revealed itself, it was Kakashi, and Naruto felt a wave of relief. "Hello, Naruto. Sorry for the delay. I got caught up on the path of life," Kakashi said, his tone as relaxed as ever. He led Naruto into the woods for their training. After they settled in, Kakashi showed Naruto the hand signs, ox, rabbit, and monkey, and had him practice them. "Next, you focus your chakra into lightning energy," Kakashi explained. "This takes an intense amount of chakra and control." Naruto began channeling his chakra, practicing the hand signs for the Chidori. He managed to produce a spark, but it quickly fizzled out. Kakashi reassured him, saying it was only his first attempt and encouraging him to keep practicing. He advised Naruto that if he could master this technique, combining it with his speed would be a powerful advantage. However, Kakashi cautioned him to use it only when necessary, as it could be deadly if misused. Naruto nodded, expressing his gratitude for the lesson. Kakashi told him to head home and rest up for the next part of the exams. The Forest of Death. The next day, Naruto and his teammates, Shikamaru and Ino, waited outside a vast, gated forest, joining several other squads for the second phase of the Chunin exams. The ominous forest loomed over them, intimidating more than a few of the young genin. Soon, the instructor Anko Mitarashi stepped forward, drawing everyone's attention. "This is the Forest of Death," Anko announced. "Your next exam challenge will take place here." With a grin, she held up a stack of papers. "Each of you must sign one of these, which waives us from responsibility for what might happen to you in there." She continued, her tone serious. "This test will challenge your survival skills. You'll enter through one of 44 gates and must reach the tower in the center of the forest. To pass, you'll need to acquire both a Heaven Scroll and an Earth Scroll. Anything goes to get those scrolls, including lethal force." A murmur rippled through the genin, realizing the severity of the challenge. Half of them wouldn't make it to the next round. Naruto felt a thrill of excitement mixed with tension. So, teams might try to kill us for a scroll, he thought. Good thing I learned those hand signs for the Chidori from Kakashi. But I'll need strategies for every scenario, and I can't afford to waste chakra. Anko then added that the challenge would last 5 days, which unsettled many. Supplies like food and water could be found in the forest, but the dangers went beyond hunger or thirst. Poisonous plants and predatory creatures were a constant threat. She finished by listing the ways teams could be disqualified: failing to complete objectives, losing a teammate, or looking at their scroll's contents before reaching the tower. Not far away, Sasuke and Sakura were discussing Naruto. Do you think we stand a chance against him if he's our opponent? Sasuke asked, recalling Naruto's recent displays of strength. Sakura hesitated, touching her bruised chin from a recent encounter with him. Honestly, I'd rather not try our luck. He's gotten too strong. You saw what he did in the written exam. He's not looking to team up with us, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Naruto and Shikamaru were strategizing. Alright, listen, Naruto said, we'll be in there for 5 days, so let's plan for night watches and rest shifts. I'll keep watch at night, and you two can sleep. Shikamaru nodded, finding Naruto's plan logical. Naruto's gaze drifted to Ino, who was arguing with Sakura nearby. He sighed. She's going to be a pain. Soon, each team took their places at the assigned gates. The watchers opened the gates, and the squad surged into the forest, adrenaline high. Naruto's team took a cautious approach, staying low and moving with quiet efficiency, conserving energy and avoiding unnecessary confrontations. His focus sharpened as he kept his senses alert, not wanting to risk wasting strength early. After a while, Naruto picked up the smell of burning smoke. His team exchanged looks, recognizing it as a potential sign of conflict. Following the scent, they discovered a boy lying unconscious on the ground. It was Choji, a member of Sasuke's team, battered and barely conscious. Naruto crouched beside him and placed a hand on Choji, using a technique he'd been practicing, a small transfer of his own energy, like Goku's energy transfer to Frieza. Choji stirred, blinking up at them, fear flashing across his face. Calm down. I'm not here to hurt you, Naruto said firmly. What happened? Choji, still shaking, managed to speak. A strange woman attacked us. She took down my teammates and went after Sasuke. A scream rang out from the trees above. Naruto turned to Choji. Stay hidden and rest. We'll handle this. With that, Naruto and his team charged up the trees, following the sound. High in the branches, they found a woman in a straw hat biting Sasuke's neck with a snake-like motion. Sakura stood frozen in fear nearby. Ino, without a second thought, lunged at the woman. What an idiot, Naruto muttered, racing after her with Shikamaru. The woman dodged Ino's attacks with ease, evading every punch with graceful precision. Naruto noticed the strange mark on Sasuke's neck where the woman had bitten her, but he had no time to focus on it. In a single swift motion, the snake-like woman slapped Ino aside, sending her plummeting towards the ground. Reacting instantly, Naruto dove after her, catching himself on a nearby branch and breaking her fall. The woman looked down at Naruto, a predatory glint in her eyes. You're skilled, but I'm only interested in Sasuke. Stand aside. Naruto climbed back up to Shikamaru, laying Ino's unconscious body beside Sasuke's. Watch over both of them, he instructed, then turned to face the mysterious woman, his eyes steely with determination. Naruto stepped forward while locking eyes with the snake woman, preparing to fight. The weight of the situation weighing down on him. I've been training hard, but despite this lady being creepy as hell, she took down Sasuke. This lady's dangerous and I can't afford to drop my guard, stated Naruto in his mind. Do you really believe that you can stop me? The woman taunted, her voice dripping with amusement. You're brave and quite skilled, but you're picking a fight out of your league. Naruto held his fist high, feeling his chakra flow through his body like crazy. I'm taking you down, right now, declared Naruto. Without any more words, Naruto launched himself at the snake lady, aiming a punch at her midsection. The lady effortlessly sidestepped the blow. From Naruto's perspective, she moved in an instant. Naruto skidded to a halt, immediately turning around to try again, but the woman dodged each hit with spine-chilling ease. I admire your skills, you're fast but not fast enough, said the snake lady. Naruto's eyes narrowed. If she wants to get a feel for my true speed, then how about this? He thought to himself. He concentrated for a moment before activating his secret technique. In an instant, the world around him slowed to a halt. Using his time skip for 0.2 seconds, time skidded to a halt. Using this time to close the distance between them. This time when he threw a punch, the blow connected. The punch connected with the woman's ribs, which caught her off guard. Naruto was about to continue the combo, but her body twisted weirdly, which disturbed Naruto. She then threw a quick kick at Naruto, which made him leap back. He barely avoided the blow, and yet he felt the wind behind the kick she threw. Impressive, she hissed, her lips turning into a smile. But not good enough. Naruto darted forward again, using his time skip to dodge all of her attacks with ease. He landed blows to her neck and to her shoulder, yet she recoiled from them as if her bones and flesh were rubber. What the hell is wrong with this woman? Asked Naruto. She decided to attack this time. She used her fingers and stretched them out as long as the snakes aimed for Naruto's vital points. He dodged them all except one of them, which grazed his cheek and made a little bit of blood spill. He wiped the blood away, still focused on taking her down. This created a small opening for Naruto to use his time skip and appear behind her again. This time, he charged his chakra into his fist for a devastating strike aimed at her back. The blow landed with a sickening crunch sound. It also propelled her into the tree, crashing into a trunk. I got her, Naruto muttered to himself, cautiously approaching. But something was wrong. There was no sense of victory. No relief. Suddenly, the woman's body jerked, her head tilting up to reveal a chilling grin. You're stronger than I thought, she said, her voice deeper now, more menacing. Naruto watched in horror as her face began to melt and shift. Her skin seemed to peel away like a snake shedding its skin, revealing a new figure underneath. A pale man with long, dark hair and yellow, predatory eyes. It can't be, Naruto whispered, taking a step back. The man let out a low, unsettling laugh. Oh, but it is, he said, his voice like a hiss of venom. I am Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin. And you, Naruto Uzumaki, have piqued my interest. Naruto's heart pounded in his chest. He had heard the name before, Orochimaru, a rogue ninja, feared for his deadly abilities and forbidden jutsu. This was no ordinary opponent. Orochimaru stood, dusting himself off as if the fight had barely scratched him. You're strong, but you're still just a child. Let me show you what true power looks like." Before Naruto could react, Orochimaru lunged with terrifying speed. Naruto activated time skip, but Orochimaru anticipated it, his hand latching onto Naruto's arm mid-strike. The force of Orochimaru's grip sent a jolt of pain through Naruto's arm, and he found himself slammed into the ground with brutal strength. Gasping for breath, Naruto rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding a deadly follow-up strike from Orochimaru's extended arm, which slashed through the ground where he had just been. "He's too fast," Naruto thought, scrambling to his feet. Even with time skip, he can keep up. Naruto's vision blurred for a moment, the toll of using time skip repeatedly catching up with him. His body was starting to slow down, and Orochimaru was relentless. He needed to think fast. He needed a strategy. With a burst of determination, Naruto channeled what chakra he had left, focusing on his next move. If he couldn't match Orochimaru in pure speed or strength, he had to outsmart him. Gathering his chakra into his palm, Naruto prepared a Chidori. The crackling sound of lightning filled the air as the blue energy formed in his hand. Orochimaru's eyes widened slightly in surprise, but he quickly recovered, his smile returning. "Ah, Kakashi's technique," Orochimaru mused. "Let's see how well you handle it, boy." Naruto dashed forward with the Chidori in hand, pushing his body to its limits. Orochimaru met him head-on, their clash sending shockwaves through the forest. The power of the angel versus Orochimaru. Naruto's Chidori collided with Orochimaru's strike, but the Sannin's sheer strength overwhelmed him. The impact sent Naruto flying backward, crashing hard into a tree. His body lay inside of a big crater. The force of the blow left him gasping for breath as pain shot through his body. His vision blurred for a moment as he struggled to regain his footing, his body battered and bruised. Orochimaru slowly approached, his cold, predatory gaze never leaving Naruto. "You're persistent, I'll give you that," he said with a smirk. "But you're still far from ready to face someone like me. Why don't you just give up now before I decide to end this?" Naruto gritted his teeth, pushing himself to his feet despite the pain surging through him. His chakra reserves were running low, and his body was on the verge of collapsing. But deep within him, something stirred, an ancient power, a dormant force passed down through his bloodline, waiting for a moment like this. Naruto's eyes flickered as he tapped into that hidden power, something even he hadn't fully understood yet. His breathing slowed, his heartbeat steadied, and the world around him seemed to sharpen. The air around him grew still, and his aura changed, subtle, yet profound. At that moment, a giant geyser of white showed itself at the same spot Naruto was currently standing. Orochimaru paused, sensing the shift. His smile faltered as Naruto stood before him, now exuding an entirely different presence. The tension in the air grew thick. Naruto's eyes now glowed with a faint silver hue, his expression calm and emotionless, as if he had reached a level of focus beyond ordinary comprehension. His body moved slightly, a subtle sway as he adjusted his stance. This was it. Ultra Instinct Omen. One of the hidden abilities from his bloodline, a skill no one knew about, just like the time skip. "What is this?" Orochimaru muttered, narrowing his eyes. Naruto didn't respond. His body reacted on its own as Orochimaru suddenly lashed out, striking with the speed and precision of a snake. But Naruto, now in Ultra Instinct Omen, effortlessly dodged, his movements fluid and precise, as if every attack was telegraphed to him before it even happened. Orochimaru's strikes became more aggressive, but each one missed its mark by mere centimeters as Naruto weaved through them without breaking a sweat. The Sannin's frustration grew. "You're quick," Orochimaru hissed, baring his fangs. "But let's see how long you can keep this up." Naruto remained calm, his body moving with instinctual precision. Orochimaru lunged at him again, aiming a deadly strike at his chest. Without thinking, Naruto sidestepped, then countered with a swift elbow to Orochimaru's side, sending him staggering back. The Sannin's eyes widened in shock as he felt the impact. This was no ordinary power. What is this technique?" he growled, regaining his composure. "How can you move like that?" Naruto still didn't respond, his focus locked onto the battle. His newfound calmness made him feel almost invincible, but he knew he couldn't let his guard down. This was a powerful technique, but it took a toll on his body, just like timeskip. He had to make every moment count. Orochimaru's grin returned, though more cautious this time. "I see. So you've been hiding something interesting. But let's see how far that power of yours can go." With a flick of his wrist, Orochimaru's neck elongated unnaturally as he lunged forward with fangs bared, trying to catch Naruto off guard. But Naruto moved effortlessly, slipping past the strike with ease, countering with a sharp knee to Orochimaru's ribs, followed by a quick palm strike to his chest. The force of the blows sent Orochimaru staggering back again, but this time, Naruto pressed the attack. He charged forward, his fists glowing faintly with chakra as he unleashed a flurry of strikes. Each one connected, pushing Orochimaru further and further back. Orochimaru, now clearly feeling the pressure, hissed in frustration. "You're becoming a nuisance, boy." His hands flashed through a series of hand signs, summoning several large snakes that darted toward Naruto. Naruto dodged the snakes with almost effortless precision, moving faster than Orochimaru could anticipate. With a swift motion, he grabbed one of the snakes by the head, slamming it into the ground before using it as leverage to leap into the air. He twisted mid-air and delivered a spinning kick to Orochimaru, sending him crashing into a tree. Breathing heavily, Orochimaru wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. "You've pushed me far enough, Naruto Uzumaki," he growled. "I was merely toying with you before, but now, I'll show you why they fear me." Suddenly, Orochimaru's body began to shift and change, his features becoming more monstrous and grotesque. His skin turned paler, his eyes more serpentine. Naruto's senses heightened as the danger around him grew. Orochimaru stood before him, his true form revealed. Now, the real fight begins. Naruto, still in Ultra Instinct Omen, watched Orochimaru carefully. He could feel his body starting to wear down, the strain of using such a high-level technique weighing on him. But he wasn't done yet. The battle wasn't over. Not by a long shot. However, unfortunately, Orochimaru overlooked his stay. As Orochimaru melted into the shadows, the lingering remnants of Naruto's extraordinary chakra burst radiated through the forest of death. The raw energy pulsed like a beacon, drawing the attention of numerous squads scattered throughout the treacherous terrain. In a secluded clearing, Gaara's team sensed the disturbance. Gaara's piercing gaze narrowed, her interest piqued by the powerful chakra. "Someone strong is nearby," she stated, her voice cool and detached. Temari furrowed her brow, sensing the intensity of the energy. "It feels dangerous. Shouldn't we investigate?" Kankura smirked, looking at Gaara with a hint of mischief. "Or take them out while they're weak." This could be our chance. Gaara remained silent, a dark glint in his eyes. No, let them fight. I'll wait for my moment. I want to see how strong they truly are before deciding their fate. Meanwhile, Hinata's squad, having sensed the overwhelming chakra, exchanged nervous glances. That power, it's incredible, Hinata whispered, awe mixed with fear. Neji activated his Byakugan, trying to pinpoint the source. We should see what's going on. If it's that strong, it might be dangerous for everyone nearby. Kiba nodded, his instincts kicking in. Yeah, let's check it out. But we should be careful. Shino adjusted his glasses, noting the tension in the air. Agreed. We must assess the situation first. Back at the scene of the battle, Naruto struggled to remain standing, the aftermath of his confrontation with Orochimaru weighing heavily on him. As the Ultra Instinct omen faded, he slumped against a tree, gasping for breath. The toll of the technique left him vulnerable and disoriented. Shikamaru rushed to his side, concern etched on his face. Naruto, are you okay? But before Naruto could respond, his legs gave way, and he collapsed to the ground, unconscious. Damn it, Shikamaru cursed, quickly assessing their situation. He glanced back at Choji, who was helping Sakura and Sasuke, both of whom were injured and incapacitated. We need to get them out of here before the other squads show up. Choji nodded, determination flashing in his eyes. Right, let's carry them. He and Sakura lifted Sasuke between them, while Shikamaru hoisted Naruto over his shoulder, struggling to keep his balance. As they moved quickly through the underbrush, the distant sounds of rustling leaves and snapping twigs signaled the approach of other teams, drawn by the residual chakra. Hinata's team was close behind, cautiously following the energy trail. We have to hurry, Neji urged, sensing the tension in the air. If we find them before it's too late. Gaara's group, meanwhile, had made their way to a vantage point, observing the frantic retreat of Shikamaru's team. Temari's eyes widened. They're leaving. What happened? Gaara's expression darkened, his desire to confront the source of the extraordinary chakra igniting within him. Let them escape, for now. But when the time comes, I'll ensure they don't get away again. As Shikamaru's team navigated the treacherous forest, they could hear the distant echoes of their rivals closing in, the pressure of impending confrontation heavy in the air. They had to find a safe spot to regroup and recover, knowing the challenge they faced was far from over.